Hello and welcome to this Meet Your Future session. In these sessions, we hear from people in different roles, and you have the opportunity to ask them your questions about what they do and how they got to where they are. My name is Jamie and I'm your host today. I work at the Greater Manchester Combined Authority, and it's my job to help young people find out more about the different careers and options that are out there available to them. One of the ways that you can do that is on the GMACS website, gmacs.co.uk, which has lots of information for young people who live in Greater Manchester. Today, though, as part of National Careers Week, we are going to hear from Rebecca Stone, who is the Project Stakeholder Engagement and Social Value Manager at BAM Nuttall. BAM Nuttall is a construction firm who build all sorts of things from airports to railways to sewers to motorways. Rebecca is going to tell you a little bit about the company and about all the different sorts of jobs that are out there in construction that you can do. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat and we will have some time at the end to answer them. Right now, though, I'm delighted to hand over to Rebecca Stone.
So hi everyone, as Jamie said, I work for a company called BAM Nutall. And we are part of the Royal BAM Group, who are one of the largest construction companies in Europe, and we operate in 30 countries worldwide. Within the UK, we have two operating companies. So we have BAM Nuttall, who I work for, who are the civil engineering company. So we build all sorts of infrastructure, as Jamie's just given some good examples. And we also have BAM Construct, who build the buildings, sort of the schools, hospitals and office blocks. So what makes a career in construction exciting? There's careers for everyone. It doesn't matter whether your skills are in maths or if you prefer being outdoors, there's a career to match any skill set. Variety is one of the main things that I enjoy about my job. No 2 days working in construction will be the same. There's the opportunity for travel. So within Nuttall, you could work anywhere within the UK. But not only that, there's the opportunity to work abroad with our international element of the company. So this photograph is of our British Antarctic Infrastructure Modernisation Programme, where we're working to improve the jetties and the docks for the surveys. So this is the Sir David Attenborough boat, also known as the Boaty McBoatface. You can join construction at any level, from apprentice to graduate. So you could join straight from school. You could do some A-levels and join at that level, or you could join as a graduate, and there's so many opportunities to earn while you're learning and working your way up to a senior level. And it is also a well-paid job with, most importantly, the job satisfaction of being able to say, I built that. I know growing up, my dad used to point at things when we were driving around the country of projects he was involved with, and I now do exactly the same with my friends and family, pointing at various bits of motorways and flood alleviation schemes. So the next slide just shows some of the careers that are available in construction. So James asked me to kind of show the variety. So this is a really good example of the variety of slides. And the next one will show you how those roles fit together. So it all starts with an idea, such as building of a housing estate, refurbishing a shopping centre, the construction of a new road, and the team of engineers, planners, architects and designers will find out exactly what it is that the client wants and develop it accordingly. Sustainability, environmental and health and safety issues are all built into this plan. And then the legal and financial specialists are brought into the team to make sure that the project is legally and financially feasible, such as buying the materials, the equipment, and being able to afford to pay the people to build the job is very important to ensure that a project can be delivered and completed cost effectively, as well as considering the environmental impacts, such as the transport of goods and using materials from sustainable sources. Once the design meets what the client wants, the surveyors are brought in to identify the construction site. Planning consultants will seek building permission to build in that particular place, and the quantity surveyors draft the budget of the project. And then the whole project is driven by a project manager who ensures the project works to time, budget and plan. And then craftspeople are brought in and they will start building the project and are overseen by a construction site manager, all while business support roles are taking place behind the scenes, such as finance, ICT, and marketing. Waste management is also an important part of construction. Getting rid of unwanted materials is such a legal and environmental issue, and it has to be delivered correctly. And then towards the end of the project, the building control surveyors and facilities managers make sure that the building is safe and comfortable, coordinating everything from the security to cleaning, and then the finished project is handed over to the client. So this is just a little bit about some of the different routes into construction. So you can go to college where you can study BTECs or T-levels. You BTECs in a variety of subjects, such as construction in the built environment or quantity surveying, civil engineering. And there's also BTECs in your more traditional craft roles, such as your bricklaying, your steel fixing, groundworking. There's also T-levels. So T-levels are a relatively new type of qualification, and they are a 2-year technical qualification. They are equivalent to 3 A-levels and provide you with specific skills and industry experience to make sure you are more employable as you enter the world of work. The T-levels can also set you up for higher level or degree apprenticeships or university, and you split your time between classroom-based learning and industry placements of at least 45 days, which would be organised by a training provider. You can also do an apprenticeship, so you can join apprenticeships at various levels. So you could join a craft, which generally require GCSE levels. You could join a technical apprenticeship, which generally require you to have an A-level or an equivalent level 3 qualification, or you could join a higher and degree level apprenticeship. And I think the most important part about apprenticeships is that you get to earn while you learn. So you're paid to study, the company would pay for you to do that qualification, and you are also integrated into the project teams and the company as an employee. You can also go to university and study a degree. A lot of companies, I know BAM Nuttall do, have a established graduate programme that you can join after university. And there's also generally the opportunity to do summer work placements or year in industries for undergraduates, which can often lead to the company to sponsor your final year of university and guarantee you a job on completion of the degree. So I've talked a little bit about craft and technical apprenticeships. So this slide just shows you the variety of craft trades available out there. And the next slide will show you some options of the technical roles that are available, and the ones that are highlighted in orange are some of the technical apprenticeships that BAM Nuttall and BAM Construct offer in the UK. So a little bit into the apprenticeships at BAM. So we have 4 main apprenticeship pathways in the business support roles, such as business admin, IT and HR, IT and digital, as well as your traditional craft trades, and the previously mentioned technical apprenticeships for which you would need A-levels or equivalent level 3 qualifications. So where can you find out more about careers in construction? You could scan that QR code, which takes you to our early careers brochure, or on our website has that information. You could go to goconstruct.org, which have some really useful resources for students, teachers and careers advisors on careers in construction. And if you're particularly interested in the civil engineering, there's the Institute of Civil Engineers website, have a What is Civil Engineering section, which has some great resources out there.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was absolutely fantastic and really, really interesting to hear about the different roles that are available. So if you do have any questions for Rebecca, please do drop them in the chat. Rebecca, whilst we are waiting for those to come through, let me start off by asking you, I found it really, really interesting to see the different roles and the kind of the cycle of them and how they all fit together. And because when a lot of people think about, construction, they think about bricklaying, but actually, as you said, it's these projects are massive multi-million-pound projects. There's a lot of people working on, big teams of people doing all sorts of different things. Something that I picked on there was design. Can you talk a little bit about that at all? Because I think some people don't realize that these projects can be quite creative.
Yeah, so as BAM Nuttall, we are the contractor, but the design is generally done by what are known as the consultancy. So when you go into civil engineering, you'll learn about the contracting side and the consultancy side. So we partner up with consultancy companies who help us to design the projects. So that does require a bit of a creative element, a bit of the technical element to be able to drive CAD, which is like computer aided design projects. And also it's important when they're designing, there's lots of different disciplines. So if we're building a road or buildings, they need to be able to make sure that their utilities and the roads, and if they're putting a street light in, for example, they all need to be able to fit together actually once we build the project on the ground. So there's a lot of work that goes on there in the background before you see a spade in the ground.
That's brilliant. Thank you ever so much. And we've had quite a few questions now asking about the different salaries that the different roles can get. I don't know if you want to go back to the previous slide showing some of the different roles, but can you talk a little bit about what the starting salary would be for some of these and what people could expect to earn? So we've had, yes, lots of questions about that, including year 8 at the Radcliffe School and year 7 at St Monica's, asking that as well.
Yeah. Oh, does it go backwards? Yeah, so I think I'll be honest, I don't know all the numbers off the top of my head, but I know sort of as a freshly qualified engineer, you can start on around about 25,000, and then kind of fully qualified, you can be up to the 40 to 60,000. As an apprenticeship, for me, so I did the engineering apprenticeship, and I know that I was earning a lot more money than friends who were working in other industries at that time. But as I mentioned, if you have a look on the Go Construct websites, they've got the detail of all the different roles and the examples of starting salaries and fully qualified salaries on there.
Fantastic, thank you. Rebecca, we've got a question from Alder Hill. Please, can you tell us what GCSEs you studied?
Oh, so my options were, I did a double award in engineering, German and history, as well as sort of your sciences and IT, English. It's been a while. It's been 10 years since I did my GCSE, so yeah.
That's brilliant, thank you. And we've got another question from year 7 at St Monica's. What's the most expensive project you have worked on?
Oh, that's a tough one. So the value of projects vary quite drastically. So I've worked on a project which is worth £3 million, and that's quite a low value in terms of construction. The projects I'm looking at the minute are around 60 to 50 million pounds, and I know of colleagues that have kind of worked on projects around 300 million pounds.
That's absolutely amazing. Thank you. We've got a question here from Bazid at the Radcliffe School. Where are you based, and what is the best location you've been able to travel to? So
I live near Manchester. For me personally, I did a lot of my placements in Leeds. I've worked down in Bristol, and I'm now working quite close to home in Manchester. So I've not got any of the exotic ones. I do have some colleagues who have worked on the British Antarctic Survey, of which I was talking about earlier, and it was great. They were sending us photos of like seals on the beach. So there is so much variety out there if you wish to do so.
Brilliant. We've got a question from PLG. How long does it take to build a motorway?
It depends, because as I've mentioned, so you can have 2 or 3 years of planning in the first place, and then the project I've worked on was upgrading the M1 up to a smart motorway, and that project was about 3 years, and that was just to upgrade the motorway.
That's really, really interesting to know that there's so much time spent in the planning stages before you even get to actually building anything. These projects take a very, very long time. Okay, we've got a question from Eliza at the Radcliffe School, which is, what are the working hours and conditions like? Do you enjoy your job, Rebecca? Let's get that on record.
So the typical working hours, if you're on site, generally are from about 7:30 till 5:30. as I mentioned, I'm no longer an engineer because for me personally, I had some issues. I struggled with those hours. So my hours now are 8 till 5, and there is a little bit more flexibility. So it just depends what role you go into. Whether you enjoy, if you enjoy being outdoors, you know, some people absolutely love being outside and working all those long hours, and other people it's not for them and they have more of a supporting role.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. Teachers, I'm just going to publish a feedback form in the chat, so please do let us know what you think about this event. But Rebecca, we've got a few more questions coming through, so I'm just going to go find our next one. Okay, so this is a good question from Alder Hill. I think you've touched on this already, but if you could just talk a little bit more about it. Do any roles specifically require degrees, or can you work on the job and learn on the job for all the roles?
If I think about the senior people in my company, I know a lot of them joined at 16 as apprentices and have kind of worked their way up over 20, 30 years to get those senior level roles. A lot of so I'd say if you're going into design side, that generally requires a degree, but a lot more companies now are offering those degree level apprenticeships, so you can join those with a level 3 qualification and work towards that degree apprenticeship, so you don't necessarily have to do it before you join the industry.
Amazing, thank you. And another question from Alder Hill. What has been your most interesting or favourite project that you've worked on?
I'd say my favourite project was I was involved in building flood alleviation, flood defences in Leeds city centre. So that was a really interesting project, and seeing the variety of, there's quite a lot of the area where we just built walls, but there's some areas where we just increased the walkway heights and built ramps and made like design features of it. And you're talking to people and they might not even realise that what we've built is a flood defence. They just thought it was a nice feature for the city centre. And that is the project I spent the longest time on as my apprenticeship. So for me, that was where I did a lot of my development.
That's really, really interesting. And that's where clever design comes in, doesn't it? That's fantastic. Okay, we've got a question from year 7 at Royton and Crompton. BAM Nuttall is obviously a global firm, it's a very, very large firm. So do you get to choose where you are based?
It depends on you personally. If you like to travel, they'll let people travel. If you like to work from home, they will try. But due to the nature of the industry, you can't always have a say. So I've been quite fortunate that I've worked in Leeds. I live in Manchester, they're not too far away. I did have a placement where I had to go down to Bristol. I didn't get much choice in that, but the company were aware I preferred being at home. So as soon as they could, they tried to get me work near home. Generally in construction, if you do have to work away from home, you get a bit of extra money to support the additional living costs associated with being away from home.
Brilliant. Excellent question from year 9 at St Monica's. What makes BAM Nuttall stand out as a company?
I'd say the people culture. So I've joined BAM at 18. I've not worked for any other companies, but my dad has worked in the industry for nearly 30 years, and I know people that have joined us from other companies, and they have said that the people culture in BAM Nutall, they're very much like a family. They look after the people. You know, for me, as an example, I decided I didn't want to be an engineer, and they found me another role that suited my skill sets and made sure to keep hold of me.
Brilliant. Okay. Question from year 7 at Alder Hill. Who are your main clients? So who are the people who are paying for the jobs that you do?
So we have a lot of government clients. So Highways England, Network Rail. Locally, we're doing work for the Environment Agency and Manchester City Council. And I know we work for quite a lot of city councils up and down the country.
Amazing, brilliant. Here's a really good question from Alder Hill. It's, does your apprenticeship lead to chartership with the Institute of Civil Engineers or the Institute of Structural Engineers?
Yes, so if you do our apprenticeship with BAM, you'll get as part of your course, you work towards accreditation with the Institute of Civil Engineers, or if you're doing the QS it's the Institute of Civil Engineering Surveyors. And I believe if you go onto the degree level apprenticeship, that they also work towards the chartered member of those institutions.
That's absolutely fantastic. I'm afraid that we are out of time now, so apologies if you asked a question and we didn't quite get to it, but we've had loads and loads of questions there. They were all absolutely fantastic. Thank you to all schools and to all students who have been watching today. We really, really appreciate it. And Rebecca, thank you so much for speaking today. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so thank you very much again, everybody. We hope you found this session informative and useful. Don't forget, you can find out lots more about careers and options on the GMACS website, gmacs.co.uk. Teachers, please do let us know what you think of the session, which you can find the feedback form in the chat. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of National Careers Week. Goodbye.